Welcome to the Fempire podcast for women building empires where your health, relationships, and wealth rise together. Here we focus on what moves the needle the most. I am your host, Jessica Joy. Let's sharpen the axe and dive in. Today, we're talking about how to stay in your power in life's challenging seasons, to stay grounded, to stay powerful, to stay consistent. This is an inner game. And I wanted to share this because I've recently went through one of the biggest storms of my life. A month ago, Chad's business partners completely locked him out of his business. So he had access to nothing after years of building. And then they had access also to my email list, all my web pages and funnels, so I couldn't connect with leads. My husband and I are both business owners. This is how we generate income to support our family. Boom, gone. Then they started lying to clients about his character. We have recordings of this. Have we been working with attorneys? Absolutely. And still, it's a process of rebuilding. And I wanted to share some of the tools that I've used to navigate this system, this set of circumstances in my power, and also a lesson that I've learned that I think will help you navigate challenges in your power. Because when it comes to reaching any goal, whether, let's say, you want to get toned, healthy, fit, all of that, the strategy is important, yes, like the physical to-dos, okay, the nutrition, the workouts, but there is no denying that there is the strategy and then there is the person who needs to implement the strategy consistently. And that comes from your operating system, your mindset, your beliefs, your identity, your nervous system, how you navigate your emotions. And so that is why in our coaching, not only do we give effective custom strategies, but we are giving women more tools, more power, more operating from a sense of relaxed. I've got this, even when life is crazy, because that's how they can consistently implement the strategy. Okay, this is really a capacity conversation because a lot of ladies, they'll do awesome with their workouts and nutrition when life is pretty even keel. You know, it's like, yeah, we're rocking it when life is, quote, normal. But when life stretches you, it will expose your capacity levels. And that's when the nutrition choices start getting not so good. Some women start overeating, some women start undereating, some women start grabbing anything they can get their hands on, which is typically high carb, high fat, low protein, low fiber, which isn't going to support their energy. That's when workouts start getting missed. That's when hydration goes down. That's when quality and quantity of sleep suffer. And so we actually, when we work on also our operating system, we expand our capacity so that we can stay stable, we can stay steady, we can stay in action, even when life stretches us. Okay, so I want to share some of the mindset tools that I've used, some of the emotional regulation tools that I use to support my nervous system, the things that I did for my physical health, because the better you're feeling and operating, the more you can navigate the challenges. Okay, it can go from I've got this, whatever, come what may, or my gosh, I'm gonna die, and so I've learned a lot and I'm excited to share this. And it's just another example of how, again, it's like there's the strategy and there's the woman. We want to bring them both together. Great strategy and empowered woman. Let's go. All right. So, first thing that I did for my mental health is we have a framework in our coaching that I call you're operating either from a survival state or a leadership state. And this is predicated on how you're viewing a situation. It's literally just how you're thinking about it. So you can start to observe your thoughts and ask, okay, if you're feeling tight and fearful and like stressed, be curious, what am I thinking? So I could have, if I allowed myself to focus on things like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that could have happened. My gosh, this could just ruin us. Like I would have been in a survival state. When you're in a survival state, you basically cut off access to the highest thinking part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, and you're just operating more in survival and everything becomes harder. But when you can practice and observe and shift into thoughts that lead you to empowering things, then you're going to be in a more relaxed state, leadership state. So I would really guide my mind and be like, how is this for me? How is this for us? And ultimately, it would lead me to answers like, they weren't meant to work together. Those people have low or no integrity. Why would we want to be in close association with them anymore? It showed so much about their character, and like, I always want to be in anybody that you're working closely with, you want to have good character. So cool. They needed to not work together. That's totally for us. Yeah, he's not working with them anymore. Guess what's happened since? He's had more space to rebuild a new business that is even better. Better service, better quality, better systems. Like, he had built it before, like he built the majority of the business before and then moved forward with like the next level version. I've had to rebuild mine. And it's been a good opportunity actually for me to say, well, if I'm rebuilding, not to do all brand new web pages and all brand new things, it's like, what am I done? It was in a way a fresh start for me, because we are different in the health fitness space, because we do bring in so much of the inner work and the deeper work around metabolism, hormones, gut, but also the operating system with a good strategy. And then you can add peptides to it. We're really uniquely positioned, and ultimately, I think this enhanced my mission, which I will share at the end. It was like one of the biggest gifts of this whole challenging season. Even in the challenges, I always like to take away, like, what did that do for me? So anyway, I was asking myself those types of things. How is this moving us in a better direction? How is this, if you actually look at, how is this actually creating the resistance I need to grow? How is this creating a space that is going to reveal a blind spot that I have? How is this an opportunity for me to take something that used to be a weakness and make it a strength? Like, I really look at those empowering ways of thinking, because when you do, your body feels that. It's like, how is this for me? You start to get curious and you stay open, instead of, if you're, just in so much fear, you get closed off and it's really hard to function very well or optimally whatsoever. So mental health was really managing my mind. Next, physical health. So what I love about physical health in this wild season was, because of the systems, routines, and skills I've built over the years, had nothing changed much as far as how I was showing up for my health, because it was like it's a framework. Like, whether shiz hits the fan or not, like, I'm going to nourish my body. I have very fast, simple meals. I know how to prioritize protein and produce. I know, like, I've got my go-tos. It's fast. It's simple. Nothing changed. I've made it so simple for me to be healthy, even on a crazy season. My workouts, I've developed a system that they really serve me physically, mentally, and emotionally. They don't drain me. They bring more to me. So cool. Did 2 or 3 weightlifting sessions, did some walking pad sessions. One thing I love about weight training is that it really supports your nervous system to practice feeling strong. It's like you're getting it in your body. I am strong. When you lift those weights, it's like this connection. You're like, wow, it's just proving to yourself over and over how strong you are. And so it was really nice to have those workouts where sometimes you're feeling a little weak or a little bit beaten down by life. And you go into that workout and you're like, yep, this is me in my power. There we go. Did those hydrations on autopilot, easy peasy. Sleep, I actually improved something on here, because I found, because this is so connected to us, just like our survival as a family, it's directly our income. When we have those, like, finances can affect your nervous system a lot. And I found the times it can hit the hardest are when you go to lie down at night. And by then, you're just tired. You don't have this fresh mind that's like, let's think positively about this situation. You're just like, shoot, my tank is low. I need to rest. And what if this, that's where the negative thoughts can start to creep in. When you start focusing on those, your body will feel them, your nervous system gets activated, etc. So what I would do is listen to guided meditations to fall asleep. And here's why I am a huge believer of this. My experience is, and there is science to back this up, that the state you fall asleep in is kind of the state you're marinating in for the night. Have you noticed, like, when, maybe work is getting really crazy and you start having nightmares about work? Totally related. So, what if you fall asleep in a really positive state? Then you can marinate in a positive state, or at least a more relaxed state. Really, we're just trying to get to neutral in seasons like this, where we're not setting ourselves up to, like, you're in and out of sleep and you're having negative thoughts about what could happen. It's like, we just want to calm our bodies and know everything's going to be okay. I have enough. I've always had enough. I'll always have enough. It's like really leaning into an abundance mindset when it feels like, oh my gosh, panic button. So having those audios was wonderful because it's just pouring. You're not doing any of the work. You're tired at night. Come on, pouring into your mind, empowering thoughts, ideas, and you can find different ones that you're aligned with. There are some guided meditations I think are annoying and cheesy. And then there's some that I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that. That was perfect. Oh, thank you. And then I would drift off. And there would be some nights that I didn't have my guided meditations. And, I did think more negatively and I felt it in my quality of sleep. So you can experiment with that. I'm just a huge fan of guided meditation because right before you fall asleep and right when you wake up, that is when your subconscious is most open. Okay, so we want to be very conscious of our subconscious. And it's like we actually want to train, like, what an opportunity for me to train more abundance thoughts in the time that feels the most scarce or the most that where a lot of fear is happening. That's the best resistance you can have. It's like, how do you develop abundance mindset when there's such an opposition to it and you can still maintain an abundance mindset? And that's been something I've been wanting to work on too. So the meditations are huge. Sometimes I would wake up and listen to them right away or some other empowering like YouTube videos, etc. But nothing that was too like informational. It's more like positive affirmations, etc. Because sometimes information is just information overload. It's more like positive thoughts. Like that works way better, just for reference. So that was huge for sleep. Next, emotional health. So we've talked about mental health, physical health. Physical health was the sleep, and then emotional health. Okay, so this is where I want to be really honest. And I hope whoever is listening, there's somebody out there that this helps them move through some tough times. Because there were, as much as I am a believer in how can you see this in an empowering way, there is also the reality of the emotions and the experiences, right? It's like you can't just mindset your way out of any emotion. I don't advocate that. I do think it's important to have that tool to shift, but I also believe in allowing the emotions. So there would be times I would give myself space. Maybe it was in the evening or the morning when I could give myself space to be alone. I've done this before, so I could tell all my body wanted was to just let myself feel whatever I wanted to feel. And that was things like sadness, that some people could be so cruel, in my opinion. Frustration, all the things we're having to rebuild, all the time away. It happened during our kids' spring break. We were so excited about taking some time to be present with them. And this happened right before spring break. So, my husband had to spend time rebuilding his business and going through, this toxic situation. There we go, allowing the emotions. What a perfect example. But letting myself feel sadness, frustration, fear, anger, whatever needed to come up. I've found in personal development, there's kind of two schools of thought. There's the ones that believe, okay, like however you're thinking about it is how you're going to feel about it. So if you change the thought, you can change the feeling. I do believe that's a powerful tool and I will use it, obviously. But there's the other school of thought that their emotions are experienced in the body and the way that you can move through them is to feel them. You got to feel it to heal it. Okay, so I think there's both. And so some of this was allowing myself those spaces. Man, there were some times that I felt so dense. It was just like dense. Like my body was just
full of emotions and it felt stale and stagnant and thick. And it was wild, some of the experiences where I just let myself feel whatever I needed to feel. And in the course of 15, 20 minutes, I felt lighter. Energy returned. I could actually use the mindset tools in an authentic way where I'm like, yeah, I can see how this could be for us. Sometimes you're just like, this is so hard. I don't want to think positive about this. And so it is also so important that we give ourselves space to feel. And those were such a gift. So in the future, as I navigate challenging situations, I'm going to create more pockets of time to just let myself process. Because when I did, everything felt lighter, felt easier. I didn't feel that dense, heavy energy. And so even for some of our clients, they'll go through really challenging seasons and, we'll give them different types of practices that they can use to move the energy through. Otherwise, it can just feel like life is this uphill battle or you're moving through sludge. And so that is one of the keys is processing emotions. Another one that is really great, and it's a skill set that we help our clients with, is tapping. Now, I'm certified in the Overflow tapping method by Hannah Rose Cluley. And I love her. Her method is actually not technically EFT tapping, but it's 4 steps of 1, meeting yourself where you're at, whatever's coming up for you. And then releasing what's not serving you, then bringing in what you want. And my favorite part, bringing it into overflow. So bringing in what you want and then taking it over the top. And I think this framework around the tappings, you can tap on anything that is coming up for you. We have a library of tappings that are definitely health and body related, but you can tap. There's also a framework that our clients can use for anything they want to tap through, because I think that just is an authentic way we can move through something. Meet yourself where you're at with love, compassion, forgiveness, and care, and whatever is coming up for you. You don't have to sugarcoat it. It can be as ugly as you want it to be. It's just true. Then release what's not serving you. That's where it's like, I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to let that go. Great. It's just authentically moving through. Well, what do I want? Because sometimes we're so focused on what we don't want or how hard something is or how sucky something is that we can literally just get stuck in it. It's like, let's not operate that way. It's like the day's going to go by one way or another. How do you want to operate in it? So moving into what I want, sometimes, shifting from focusing on what you don't want to what you do want, it will highlight how often you probably focus on what you don't want or what's frustrating you or what's hard. Our brains have this tendency because we're wired for surviving, not thriving. Okay, so we have to retrain our brain, which we can. That's retraining our operating system. Amazing. So focusing, what do I want? Oh, I want our businesses to grow. Oh, actually, I want to create some new funnels that are in my current mission that's better and bigger than ever. So you can move through what you want and then bring it into the best possible way. You could letting your imagination expand from what you want to wow, what if it were even bigger? Because it all starts with your own imagination. Your own mind is what's creating all of this. So it's a really beautiful process that you can use to move through emotions and not just release them, but bring in what you want and channel that energy into the greatest possible scenarios and best possible energy in a way that's authentic to you. All right. So I want to share one of my biggest gifts this has given me. And this part's really vulnerable because I like to think of myself as a powerful person who's created it's actually a 7-figure business that I've built as a mom and maintained my health and body that I love for 6 years. I love teaching women on this. I'm proud of myself as a mom. Anyway, I have so many things that I'm proud of, but I'm also human. And I'm not perfect. And one of the things that this highlighted for me was where I give my power away to things outside of myself. And before this, I would have said, I'm good at that. I hold my power. But it really there's so many times where maybe Chad was really stretched and then I couldn't focus as well. Okay, that's actually giving my power away to this situation. Or there would be times where, I'm just dwelling a bit too much in the injustice of it all. Okay, yes, it's unjust and disgusting, but bring it back, bring your power back. And then I started noticing in other areas of my life, oh my gosh, I just started noticing these little patterns where I lead with a little bit more fear than power, a little bit more fear than faith, a little bit more concern and, oh, I don't know, then I've got this. Which is ultimately, the more that you can be connected to your power, be in a leadership state, the more you are set up to create anything. It's like you can navigate anything because of the state that you're operating from. This is why it's just so important to really prioritize working on your operating system. So this has been a gift. And I remember this beginning of this year, I wrote a line in my journal about my mission. It was actually more simple and clear than I'd ever written it. I actually reread it a lot because I'm like, oh, that's actually it. And it's to support women being the most powerful versions of themselves, mind, body, and soul. That is my mission from my soul. Like that, the essence of what I want to do. And is health connected to that? Yeah, but it's so much bigger. And so this experience has given me an opportunity to be that. Okay, how am I? It starts with me. Anybody's mission starts with them. I go first. Okay, how can I be powerful in my mind, my body, and my soul? And I've mastered the body piece. The mind I've gotten good at. The soul, that's the power piece that sometimes I'll toggle and I'll lead again, like I said, with a little bit more fear than faith, or a little bit more trepidation than courage and power. And ultimately, when you drop all the noise and you drop down into what I call your deep core, there is a knowing. There is a knowing of your power. There is just like this deep knowing, this trust, this honest, real, it's deep down, I've got this. Deep down, everything's going to be okay. Deep down, I can create anything I want. Deep down, I know I'll be guided. Deep down, things will unfold in the best way possible for me. Deep down, there's nothing that can stop me. Deep down, I will always keep going. It's this, it's like when we get rid of all the noisiness and the fluff and the old stories and the beliefs. Boom. Center yourself. It's right there. It's that soul. And that's something that is unique in the work that we do. I don't want our health and body transformation coaching to just be, hey, here's your nutrition and workouts. Like, cool. Like, ask ChatGPT, it'll give you something generic, but it's something. This is so much bigger. Okay, this is leading your body in a powerful way, but also having tools around your whole operating system. So yes, you can be consistent with the health pieces that will move the needle, but ultimately, this is about women becoming the most powerful versions of themselves because we need that in the world. We need women to have strong bodies, strong minds, and be connected to the power of their soul and the mission that they are here on this planet for. And I refuse to not contribute to women becoming stronger in their body. Frankly, they're so connected. Your mind and your soul, it's all connected. And so I wanted to share this experience of how I've practiced what I preach. And I hope this helps you navigate situations. If you have any questions about coaching with us, you can always DM me coaching. Or if there was something that resonated with you about this, I would love to hear from you. I mean, sheesh, if you listen to this whole thing, one, it means a lot. This is raw, but I would love to hear if something resonated with you because we're all having a human experience. So you can find me on Instagram at its.jessicajoy. And that is it for now. So lead with your inner power and have an amazing day.